What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to G.W.R, our weekly pro wrestling podcast. This is the pilot episode. Joined here with by Eric and also by my dad Tony.
Encyclopedia of Wrestling.
About everybody should know us all three now from many of these shows we've been putting out.
Right.
Yeah, this is going to be a pro wrestling podcast. But we're not just going to talk about the big companies. We'll talk independent wrestling as well. Then we'll also talk about AEW, WWE, and stuff like that. But I figured let's start out the first episode today by talking about a little bit of the Indiana independent wrestling before we jumped into the big companies. We're going this Sunday to do a show at Summit Pro.
I'm excited about
and,
that.
They have a stacked card for that show this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I'm excited to see Eric Dillinger. I've heard a lot about him. I've never got to see him. I've seen him on film.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him live, so I'm excited to see him.
Same.
And then Charlie Cruel and Alice Crowley. I'm really excited.
That's going to be a hell of a match.
But yeah, I've seen Charlie Cruel, but it was more of like a battle royal, so it was kind of different. And I've seen Crowley, and she's really good. So I'm excited for that.
I like her crowd work.
And what a lot of people don't realize, both of them were just recently wrestled in AEW, AEW Dark.
Yep.
Yeah, Charlie had that match against Ruby Soho.
And then the main event there is two wrestlers I don't know a lot about. This Tyler Matrix and Ace Perry. I've heard of Ace Perry. I really don't know much about Matrix at all. So I always like to see new people. So so I'm excited for that. It's a fantastic card.
I'm also excited for the Bret Havoc and Sean Kemp match.
Yeah, I think that's
we've seen Havoc go. Havoc is good.
Havoc's one of the best independent wrestlers in Indiana. I don't know what I can say about other states, but he's really good. Great performer.
Like I said, I'm excited to see Juwan Thomas there.
Yep.
Like I said, every time I see that guy, he gets better and better every time.
He's really good.
I said, if he just puts everything together in a couple of, here shortly, he's going to be one of the top talents, I think, around Indy.
He's a champion, outlaw champion right now in
WCW. Yeah, he's outlaw champion.
Beat Dexter Royal.
Yep.
With some help.
Yeah, with some help. With some help.
And the other thing there, we're going to see, I think, 4 tag teams that we haven't seen before. So I'm excited about that because, we've seen the highlight reel, and definitely I think what we've seen so far, they're ahead above everybody. But, there's other tag teams we haven't seen. Well,
I don't know if they're ahead above that.
They were really good.
Rojas and Hadley. I can't remember what they called themselves. Uprising.
Yeah, Uprising was really good. So yeah, they're right there.
I'm excited to see Don't Die Miles. Well, Shooters Don't Die. They're a good tag team. But Don't Die Miles, that guy's
that's
amazing.
one that I haven't got to see. So yeah, I was excited to see him also.
I'll tell you who impressed me was that Hadley.
Red Hadley. Oh yeah.
Oh, Hadley, man. He's just his intensity. He just. From the time he walked out of the curtain to come out, he was his intensity was at like 200%, and it didn't stop until he went behind the curtain and you couldn't see him anymore.
Yeah, he's really.
I was impressed. And Rojas wasn't bad. Rojas was pretty good too.
Yeah, I was surprised.
You looked at his build and stuff. He was.
Yeah, but his his skill set was really good, real good. They were really good tag team.
He's the one from the Lucha. That the guys that was on the show, right?
No.
I thought he was.
No, one of the guys was named Gonzalez from the Lucha.
Yeah,
and spelled your way.
Oh yeah, with the Z.
Yeah, and he said that's the only way you spell it. He said that's the right way. The other way you're wrong.
Can't disagree with the guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Can't disagree with you.
I don't think he's going to be at the Bloomington. It looks like the tag team partner and another guy.
And he trained with the Samoans.
Yep.
Yeah,
he went to that school.
They've trained a lot of independent wrestlers, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then there's been a couple other people that we've talked to that's been trained by them as well. Mm-hmm. Them and Billy Rock. You hear a lot about Rock.
Yeah. And
I'll tell you what, the guy, most of the wrestlers I've seen that have came out of his school, especially here in Indiana, they're good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have.
Same thing with Jake's guys, Jake Oman's guys. He's training some.
Well, some of these guys come out of WCWO too, or at least wrestled through WCWO.
The White River Wrestling also.
Because Havoc was, I didn't realize that, but Havoc was a former champion at WCWO.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. That's what's so great about independent professional wrestling is there's so many layers and it goes so deep, and like you think you know a lot about it and you think you know but no, there's whole nother levels of it that you don't realize is out there.
And I don't want to piss anybody off, but I mean, we've been to 6, 7 shows and all of them have been good. I can't say a bad thing about any of the shows we've been to, but for me personally, going to WCWO, I've been down 4 or 5 times now, and the way they do the storylines and the way they do their video stuff, and they keep updating stuff and the storylines, even when they're not at the show during the weekend stuff, that's my favorite place, just because of the storylines. But, you know, that's not taking anything away from and that's just my opinion. That don't mean that they're the best.
They have a little bit of an advantage doing a weekly show, too, that people can stay invested in the characters and in the storylines.
It's an advantage, but it's also tough. I mean, to have to keep wrestlers coming in and out and keep it fresh and not the same matches all the time. And how many? I mean, you can have them wrestle 2 or 3 times, but you can space it out.
It's an advantage, I think, but it's not as big an advantage now as it used to be because of social media.
Right.
Yeah.
Because even these promotions that run once a month, if they would do the video stuff like WCWO does, they could keep storylines going for once a month.
I agree.
If you keep videos and stuff going, but you don't see a lot of companies doing that. You see some starting to do that, some, but you don't see very many.
No,
at least around here.
No, I agree. That's something that they need to take advantage of.
What happens like in these other surrounding states? I'm not sure, but in Indiana, you see a few of them starting to do it, but and the IWTV, I mean that's great, but how many? Unless you're a diehard wrestling fan, people's not going to pay for that for a subscription to watch independent wrestling. You're more just your casual fans not. But if your casual fans scrolling through Facebook and a video pops up, they're more likely to watch it if it's a 1 or 2 minute video or something than they are to go on IWTV and search for it. Or same thing with YouTube.
Oh, I've watched a lot of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, but you got to search for it. Yeah. It's not something that we're on Facebook. You can be scrolling and it can pop up right on your timeline. Okay, I almost checked that out.
Yeah, I get on YouTube and I type in WCWO and I found that match with Joey Owen's son and MJF. I mean, I had no idea that had happened. Right. You know, I found that and just looking at that, and then I typed in some of the other like BMFX, some of their matches. And some of the other places.
That's why I think it's important to use like Twitter, Facebook, even Twitch, TikTok, which we don't use because I don't know I don't understand that TikTok shit. I ain't gonna lie, but important, especially like Twitter. If you put a video on there, it's under 2 minutes. Soon as it comes up, it's gonna start playing. Yeah. Just like what it does on Facebook. So you don't have to search for it. It just has to somehow end up in your timeline.
Yeah.
Where like on YouTube, the IWTV, that stuff, you got search for this stuff. Now YouTube, once you watch some wrestling on there, it'll start recommending some wrestling for you. Yeah. But still, I mean, you still got to
be on there for a minute before it does it. Like, to go off of what you was talking about, IWTV, it's great. It's a great thing, and it's putting a lot of stuff out there for people. Promotions that most people wouldn't know, and like you said, the diehard fans do get to see. If you're a diehard fan from Indiana, you get to see promotion from all over the United States, that you wouldn't normally just get to see like that. But also, it's so saturated with so much stuff that if you're trying to just become a more diehard fan, sometimes it's overwhelming of how much stuff is on there. And you're like, oh my God, where do I even start at?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I wish on the IWTV they would, which other states might do this, but it seems like most of the Indiana promotions, they don't put it on IWTV live. They record it, and then they record it, then they put their commentary over it and edit it all up, then put it on IWTV. I think it would, just me personally, I think if you do it live, and while you're doing it live, you're putting out social media posts, hey, we're live, I think you could draw more people in, more of the casual fans in that way, because it'll be in their timeline. Oh, G.W.R. is at a live show. We'll check this out for a few minutes or something like that. Yeah. I don't understand why they don't put more live on IWTV.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because most of it's all recorded stuff. Yeah. And if you're there and you have commentators there, why not just do it live? I know.
Let me ask you this, because I've not watched that network, is it more polished, or is it similar to what we're doing? I mean, they probably got more camera angles, I would assume.
Well, about the only difference between us and them is that most of them have a camera at the ring.
Okay.
That's basically that's the main difference.
Okay.
Is that they have more than one camera angle. That's the main difference between about any of them that I've watched compared to us. Okay. But like their video, the crispness of our video is just as good as anybody or better. I mean, well, I had a guy. I ain't gonna say his name, but I had a guy reach out to me earlier this week and asking me how we get our videos so crisp, because he's gonna start putting some stuff back live on Facebook, and he wanted to know what program I use, what we use. He goes, because your guys' streams are always so crisp. How do you do that?
Okay.
And I took it as a big compliment that he called us, because the guy I'm talking about, he has a big following.
Oh, really? Okay.
This is the thing that I think is the difference, is like the ones who are live and doing commentary live, it feels natural. And then like whenever they do it, and then they record it and then go over the top of it and then do commentary, a lot of that just seems so scripted. And I mean, not all of it's not, some of it's still really good.
Well, like at WTF, they had the cameras over here, and they were recording it, and then they had their commentary team was in a totally different spot doing commentary, yeah. and then he'll edit them together. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
And I understand when you're doing it that way. You can edit some stuff out. You can edit and stuff like that out. But independent wrestling, to me, it's more raw than.
Yeah, it's more raw, and it's not
it's not polished.
It's not supposed to be a polished. And now he does try to put out a more polished program. I mean, even his show, he tried to keep it pretty polished.
The show was great.
It was a real good show.
Facility they had, having the big screens and stuff for that countdown and stuff. That was cool.
It's the best facility we've been in.
Made it a little different for us though, because had to watch what we say because you're in the church. But
yeah.
Which we did pretty good. I think we didn't drop no F-bombs. I don't think
we had
said shit a couple times.
You said shit once, and Stevie said shit once.
I think though the rawness and the realness, the unfilteredness is what independent wrestling fans like.
Yeah.
Instead of so much of the cookie cutter, watch what you say, everything sounds like you got a piece of paper with certain things that you're allowed to say.
That's
on
why
there
some people like AEW.
Yeah.
It's so different than WWE. And I like that too. We didn't need another WWE. We don't need another show like WWE.
No.
That's one thing. That's one reason why I like NXT, is because it's different. Even though it's a WWE product, it's different. Even the black and gold, but even the 2.0, it's different than the other products. And even Raw and SmackDown, and it's starting to get a little more similar, but for a long time, SmackDown's a completely different format than what Raw is. So it's a different show.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't like WWE because it is so cookie cutter and it's PG, and it's going to be PG. It's never going to change because it's about money. Mm-hmm. And people's going to have to get over that. It's never going. Yeah. It's never going back to what it was.
A lot of people don't like WWE because of two words: Vince McMahon. If anybody else was running that company, if somebody say
Triple H took over,
or say Vince sold it and some dude came in, WWE would be the next great thing. It'd be like people would be talking about it like they are AEW right now. But people hate Vince McMahon.
Well, some. There's always going to be some that's going to hate the big guy.
Yeah,
they're the big guy that took over everything, and people are going to hate that forever.
Like if you took out Vince McMahon right now and you put the guy that's running AEW over in WWE, and he was doing the same exact shit WWE's doing right now, people would still say it was great because Vince McMahon wasn't there.
Well, stop thinking how popular would NXT been if it wasn't involved with WWE? Had a TV deal. The same TV deal that they had, but it wasn't a WWE product. I think it would have been even more popular.
And I watch AEW some. I like it. I don't really have a favorite. I don't watch it consistently enough during the week. I watch more independent than I do anything. But I mean, and AEW does some good stuff, but the wrestling in the ring, they're getting better now. But at first, it wasn't even close to the level you see them guys
they're getting
at.
better because some of the people they brought in. I mean, that's why.
They had a really light roster before when they first started. They only had three really established,
There's one reason guys. The only reason they're still around right now is because Chris Jericho.
I think the first year, if Chris Jericho wouldn't have been there, I don't know if it'd have made it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have got off the ground as fast as it did. They would still be have a more independent feel to them.
Yeah. And another thing, they everybody wanted to get on there about AEW. Oh, they're beating NXT. They're beating NXT. Okay. Good, you're beating the WWE's minor leagues, and you think you're
beating a third brand, yeah.
I mean, essentially at first NXT was basically almost like a minor league,
yeah.
And that's who AEW was competing head to head with, and was having trouble beating them. Yeah. Has AEW done any shows that would beat Raw or SmackDown in numbers? On maybe a pay-per-view.
You can't compare pay-per-view.
Yeah, but I mean,
WWE's not a pay-per-view.
No, I mean maybe one of their pay-per-view might have done better than a Raw.
Yeah,
their regular AEW Dynamites don't do no better than Raw or SmackDown number-wise.
Not complete number-wise. Now in the age groups,
18 to 35.
18 to 35, they've beat Raw once or twice. Beat them, but they do real well in the 18 to 30. They do well in that. Yeah,
but to me, you just can't go by one demographic. You go by.
I think the reason that they do so well, though, is because they're giving a lot of independent wrestlers a shot on the darks, and even on the live shows, and so therefore, there's a lot of people who love independent wrestling, and so they're gonna, a person like Charlie Cruel, Alice Crowley, people that we've going to do shows with. Yeah. Hey, we see them on TV. Yeah. What's the chances if you've never heard them, you're going to watch that episode of AEW because you've seen her before? Yeah. Things like that. And I think that's one of the main reasons that they've jumped off real
Yeah, they jumped off big, but if you look now, they've kind of leveled out. They're not gaining.
And they're not going to gain. Unless they try to hit. And I don't think he wants to, so I don't know that they will.
But you bring in Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, and you tell me that your viewership don't go up hardly at all.
It went up for a couple weeks.
I mean, so basically you didn't gain nothing by bringing them guys in.
They're basically right now 900,000 to 1 million. That's where they're at right now, and they're not. And it's been that way for a while. They really are struggling to get
over the consistent million all the time.
To get 1.3 or 1.4 for a while.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is because
it's not mainstream. It's that they don't have enough. They need storylines.
That's what I was going to say. You get Daniel Bryan there, and you don't put him in a storyline.
CM Punk, he didn't have a storyline.
You got to get.
They got to get some storylines. That's the only way it's going to do.
I know a lot of the independent people don't like the storylines as much, but
to be fair, and also to be fair on the ratings too, you got to look at it different. I mean. And that's for WWE and any wrestling organizations on TV. It's hard to compare ratings. To me, I would, and this is just a guess, of course, but if you look at the ratings, what used to be 5 million back in the day is completely different. I mean, to me, AEW getting 1 million is probably more equivalent nowadays to maybe 2.5 million or 3 million. Just like WWE, if they're drawing 2 million. It's probably more equivalent to a 5 or 6 million, just because the way everybody watches it is so different now. So it's kind of hard to judge that. And another thing, AEW is basically a television program. It's because they don't tour any other times. Yep. WWE does do tours, not like they used to, not near as much, but they do still tour.
You think that'll pick back? You think that'll ever pick back up?
I don't think it will ever go back to where it was 7 days a week. They used to do 7 days a week and 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. Now they do basically Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and that's it. They're off Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The wrestlers are. Usually, I mean, other than NXT, which NXT just does basically a TV show. They're not touring. So basically, I think that's I think in a way it will stay. Now, they may do some tours when they go to Australia or something like that, where they may wrestle some Tuesdays and Wednesdays just to take advantage of being, But now but the other thing they do with their roster, they split shows on Saturdays and Sundays. They'll do 2 shows on Saturday and 2 shows on Sunday still. and they have split. They do them super shows.
Do you think that? Because do you think it's a cheap tactic, or do you think it's a smart tactic? AEW's constantly dropping WWE shit, you know,
my opinion,
putting their names out and, you know, making, you know, the whole MJF, CM Punk, where they're going off basically making fun of each other using WWE characters. Like,
so CM Punk made the line and everybody went woo about it, and I think it was stupid because I mean he said because WWE right now is trying to sell WrestleMania tickets. 2 shows with 100,000 seats, and when they'll probably get it done, even if it's only 70,000 both nights, they're going to sell a lot of tickets. And they did for Christmas, for a month. They did it where if you bought 3 tickets, you got 1 free, and they was making fun of them. You're struggling to sell out some arenas 3,000 or 4,000 seats. Worry about yourself. That's my opinion.
Or like him calling him the next Ryback, and you know, oh, you're the Miz wannabe and all that stuff.
That's for the internet fans.
Yeah,
who want to talk.
You think
shit.
it's a choice? It's a cheap tactic for AEW to do.
I don't think it's helping them. That's my opinion.
And brings a lot of memes and stuff out, but that's about it.
Yeah,
really.
I don't think it helps them. I think the more that you put WWE's name out there, local somebody don't know much about wrestling,
you're giving
them be watching that. Well, I'm gonna go check what they're talking about.
They say all publicity is good publicity.
You're basically giving WWE some free advertising.
I would concentrate on myself.
Yeah.
Let's talk one thing, because you had mentioned it when we was in the car. Let's talk about it real quick. Because MGF on the mic compared to CM Punk, and how MJF. Yeah, he pissed Punk off the other night.
Oh, Billy Ray talked about it, and Billy Ray said, I've known Punk for a long time, and when he said about him not ever main event in WrestleMania, you could see it in Punk's eyes. Punk was pissed off, and he said, but MJF could school Punk all day long. He said, I said it when this program started. Punk can't hang with MJF. He said there's not very many people who can hang with MJF on the mic.
In the ring's a different story. Mm-hmm. He's getting better. He's getting better. I'm not.
But you notice he don't wrestle a lot of matches.
Yeah. He runs a lot.
But on the mic,
he's in and out.
But that's another thing that Bully Ray thinks they've made a mistake with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, especially Bryan. You've had him wrestle all these matches on TV. Make it special. But, you know, don't have him. Maybe have him on they're talking or something, or have a run-in or something. But don't have him wrestle every week.
You got you have a build-up to a match.
Perfect example is the ratings went down. The more they wrestled, the more it went down. Unless they're doing a big show, a big match, the ratings went down. So that makes sense.
Do you think that I've heard a lot of people in different, like, on different pages and in different, like, social media places that AEW is more for the hardcore wrestling fans that know what a good wrestling match actually is. And WWE is for the casual people that just want to see the flare and the big lights and the fireworks and all that. Like,
in some cases, but I wouldn't say, if you talk to a real old school wrestling fan, that a lot of the matches that AEW's putting out is not old school. It's a lot of stuff that psychology wise shouldn't be happening. I mean, Billy Ray just tore him apart the other night for that tag team match.
Yeah, I was reading the comment section and that's what they were saying. Like, AEW's people know they do real matches. Like, real wrestling fans know that this match is better than a match that's just hyped up and everywhere.
They said about Daniel Bryan. They said that Daniel Bryan is 100 times better now than he was in WWE. Now, do I think he's good? Yes, I think he's very good, and he is wrestling a little bit of a different style. I don't know physically if that's smart on his part. I hope he don't end up paying for it later on. But WWE protected him from himself, and he still put on fantastic matches. To me, Daniel Bryan's the best wrestler in the world.
Think so?
That's my opinion. I mean, now opinions is everybody's got one. Everybody's got an asshole. Everybody's got but that's just my opinion. To me, he's the best wrestler in the world. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
His style, it's stiff. That's one thing with AEW sometimes is that women's match the other night. The hitting was terrible, and that wasn't Soho's fault. Soho was trying to carry her and she couldn't carry her. The match wasn't very good.
Well, that Jade, she's new.
She's new, and I think they're pushing her too hard.
Yeah.
I think they're making a mistake and pushing her too hard.
Yeah. I think that it should have been Thunder Rosa against Ruby Soho. That would have been a hell of a match. Like for the belt, like give Jade enough time, give her a little bit more time. She's going to be a star. She's got the look. She's got everything. Like
I'll give AEW credit though, from where they first started to now, they've gotten a hell of a lot better.
You're talking about you're talking about and I'll give them credit because in 2 years, I mean, they come out of nowhere and put on a TV show and get decent ratings. I mean, I'm an older wrestler. Like when you say old school, I'm more old school. Mm-hmm. So some of the stuff they do, I don't like. Right. But they do enough that keeps me. I think I've missed, since they've been on, probably 4 episodes. I've watched it, So I've watched all of it. So, I mean, and there's enough of it to keep me coming back. There's some stuff I don't like, but there's enough to keep me. When
it first came out, I was watching quite a bit of it. And then when they had that pay-per-view,
exploding
where they tried to do that exploding barbed wire match.
Terrible match.
And it wasn't just that match. That whole pay-per-view wasn't very good.
It wasn't.
And it kind of soured me on it. It's like, man, you guys, you can't put it up.
But then they did come back with that one pay-per-view.
Yeah, that was great.
One of the better pay-per-views in the last 10 years. It was an excellent pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can do it.
They can do it.
Well, the thing that really got me, and I think it was Sting, and I can't remember the other wrestler. It happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they were tagged in the ring, and it may not even been Sting. It was MJF. It might have been Punk. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Punk. Chased him, and they were both tagged in. They got out. They went into the stands. The referee never counted. Went up the stairs, all the way around, come back down the other stairs, back to the ring, and the referee never counted. It's a count out. Come on. I mean, you just make yourself look stupid when you do stuff like that. Make it a no disqualification match. Make it something where that's not an issue. And that happens a lot there. I've seen a bunch of matches where they do that. They'll be outside the ring for 3 minutes. And it makes the referee look stupid.
Yeah.
Putting him in that place because he can't.
The referee can only give us so much leeway before he looks stupid.
You know what Billy said? And it's happened. He said WWE.
He'd have counted.
He'd count you out. And then when you get back there, Vince will chew you probably get fined. And he said, I'm not talking $100. We're talking thousands of dollars. And they're told to count, and if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, to count you out, disqualify you, whatever, and then you'll get your ass chewed and get fined.
And the only thing I don't like about the fans talking about AEW is they want to talk about Daniel Bryan never had a 5-star match till he went over here. Most of your stars that you have in AEW right now wouldn't be who they are if it wasn't for WWE. CM Punk wouldn't be nothing if it wasn't for WWE.
Yeah, and he talks all this crap, about real wrestling and stuff. When he left WWE, why didn't he go back to Ring of Honor?
Because he couldn't make the money he was making in WWE.
That's right. He could have. If it's for the love of wrestling, why didn't he go wrestle?
He was able to con himself into the UFC, make big money, and got his ass kicked.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
there's nothing wrong with that. Live off the name that you were able to make for yourself, but don't trash the people that help you make that name.
My thing is, you was there, you had a good run, and then you got where you hated it, and you left. That's the way it should be. I mean, that's my opinion. But I mean,
well, like Daniel Bryan, when he left WWE, he didn't trash WWE, and hell, he'd been fired from WWE twice.
Yeah, to me, whatever they've paid CM Punk has not paid off so far. I think whatever they paid Daniel Bryan has paid off so far. So far, that could change.
Didn't he get fired twice or just once?
Just once.
I thought it was twice.
Brian? Yeah. I thought it was just for that.
When he choked the guy with the microphone cable.
Yeah, I think that was the only time.
Which, hey, I'm not gonna lie, it sucked for him, but it was kind of good for us because we got to see him at an independent show right before he went back to WWE.
And I wouldn't be shocked if you don't see Daniel Bryan back with WWE. Maybe not as a wrestler, maybe as behind the scenes.
He was helping run SmackDown, and SmackDown was the better program for a while.
A lot of people didn't know it. Edge and Daniel Bryan were both writing, and that's when SmackDown was doing really better.
And if they'd let them guys and Triple H and Shawn Michaels,
the other guy, all the stuff that
Road Dogg, William Regal,
all the stuff that
they just got cut.
Well, all the stuff that Roman Reigns is doing right now, and storylines and stuff come in one place.
Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's behind it all. And him and Reigns working together.
People
Lesnar.
You can love or you can hate Paul Heyman, but that dude's a genius when it comes to the wrestling business.
If I was
Yep,
AEW,
for sure.
if I was AEW, and if Tony Khan didn't have such a big ego and he wanted to really compete with WWE, I'd find a way to get Paul Heyman.
And put him in charge, let him. Because that's another thing, is AEW going to turn into what WCW did, where you have too many head guys at the top there trying to run everything, and it folds. Because you're already starting to hear some of the stories how people don't like Cody Rhodes and his wife, that they're trying to act like
Cody Rhodes said
Triple H and Stephanie
Cody Rhodes says the company gets bigger. He said there's issues. He said there's issues in AEW. He said, I'm not saying there's major issues, but there's issues. He came out and said that the other day.
Well, I'm saying, are they going to keep overbook? Are they going to overbook like WCW did?
Well,
pay these guys way too much, not improve your storylines, and then next thing you know, you're getting sold.
Here's the thing I would say about WWE that I like. Everything that happens, people yell, scream, whatever. Do you ever hear Vince McMahon come out and address any of it?
No, not really.
He's a businessman, and he's going to do his thing, and he don't worry about what other people says. He's going to run his company, and he's going to make $400 million a quarter. That's what you're in business for. I mean, and he makes they make a lot of decisions I don't like. They just got rid of William Regal. I think it's ridiculous.
And Road
Dogg, and also Samoa Joe. I think that's crazy, especially if you're trying to build young talent. These guys are key people for that, in my opinion.
Especially William Regal.
But we don't. But then again, we like Bully Ray said the other day. His boys wrestling in the UK for WWE UK, NXT. William wanted to go over there and back to England because I think that's where he actually lives. So we don't know the whole stories. So you just hear stuff on the internet. You know,
and like the thing with
how
Samoa Joe, like he's been through a few injuries here recently. Maybe he just needed the time off, and they're like, "Hey, we'll release you. That way, we ain't got to keep paying you. We don't know when you're going to come back."
Yeah, I don't. But I think Samoa Joe would be a perfect talent scout for him. So that's what he was supposedly doing. So I don't know why they got rid of him.
Well, I'll tell you, the guy they got rid of, I think was a big mistake, is Mark Henry. Yeah, not really letting him go.
Yeah, well, he wanted to move up in the company, and well, this came from Mark Henry. I heard him say this. He said Vince McMahon said, "I can't promote you. We're releasing people. You know, we're making changes." He said, "Right now, I can't promote you." And he said, "Well, I want to move up in the company, and I want to do this and this." And he said, "I can't do that right now, Mark." And he said, "Well, I'm going to go to AEW." And he said, "Well, that's what you should do." And he said, "I'll guarantee you will do one hell of a job at it. You're going to do good." And because him and Vince had a real great relationship. He said that he was real close to his mom, Mark Henry was, and when she died, Vince called him. "Take all the time you need. You need a month off, 6 months off, year, whatever you need to do, you take care of yourself and you do it."
Well, for all the people you hear about that hate Vince McMahon, most of the wrestlers that have left there, you got a lot of them that don't say nothing but good things about the WWE.
Yeah, well, they still, who paid for John Moxley's rehab? WWE.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they don't have to do that.
Well, somebody else had been out for a long time that they had paid for.
I think I'm not 100%, but I think they paid for Jake the Snake.
That's what I was about to say.
And there's others that they've paid for. I know. So I mean, there's a lot to hate about the WWE. They make decisions, but then again, they're in a business, and they're also a public traded company. Yeah. That they have to answer to those stockholders.
Yeah, they're not. It's not like it used to be where they were just a family business.
It's a completely different thing. Well, I just seen the other day they signed a big deal for a bunch of money for lottery tickets. They're going to be WWE lottery tickets with all the superstars and stuff on the lottery tickets. They're finding all kinds of ways to make more and more money.
Well, it's like when Vince started the WWE network. Everybody was saying that he was stupid. You're going to put your pay-per-views on there. You're not charging your $60 for pay-per-views no more. You're letting people pay $10 a month to get all that content. He just licensed it to NBC for what, $50 million or something like that?
No, I think it was $1 billion.
Yeah.
$1 billion
and that's for 5 years. So in 5 more years, he's going to be able to re-up that again. And I guarantee you NBC is going to do it because I guarantee you their Peacock fucking exploded.
Yeah, and Peacock just came out and said that people are watching WWE Network. Over 3 million people are watching the network.
Yeah.
So it's doing great for them.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee
Peacock
you.
has blown up.
That's what I'm saying. Their numbers probably tripled.
Yep.
If not more than that.
If not more than that. 10 times.
Because, well, I have Peacock for one reason. WWE Network. I never got Peacock before that.
Same as me.
That's the only reason I have Peacock, so I can watch when I watch WWE Network, I watch a lot of I watch all the older stuff.
Yeah.
I like watching the old War Games, the old Royal Rumbles.
Even the old WCW stuff on there, I watch a lot of that.
I watched all the Monday Night Wars.
Well, I watch WCW, I watch NWA, I love watching the old Saturday Night main events.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I love watching on there? Old ECW.
Yep.
Yeah, all of that.
At first ECW pay-per-view they did, I can still watch that, and every time I watch it, it still gets me.
Hell, even if you get it for 1, 2, 3 months, it's done paid itself off in one pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you get they're doing 12, 13, 14 pay-per-views a year. That's not counting any NXT ones that they do. I mean, you get all this content for $10. You can't beat the price.
No.
It's one of the best deals out there for anything. I mean, it's a fantastic deal. Vince is a very smart man.
Do you think that all these cuts and all these releases were to help save their ass from folding under?
No. Could be a couple different reasons. Well, Nick Khan came in, and this is what his specialty was, is getting business to run more efficient, and the pandemic exposed a lot of things.
He's not related to the con that run the other cons.
No.
Okay. That way people know. There's two different
The pandemic exposed some things behind the scenes with like how many people you needed to do this, and then they found out we don't need 200 people to do this. We don't need 100 people. And stuff, and things,
especially when you're not traveling as much and doing all the house shows and stuff they used to do. So you don't need as many of them people. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. I hate to see any of them.
Don't want to see anybody lose a job, but it happens every single day in the world. Yeah. People lose their job. It's a horrible feeling. It happened to me, 12 years ago. Worked at a place for 25 years. They call you in the office and said, "We're going to and didn't have any idea it was coming. Sorry, Tony, we're going to let you go." And I'm like, heck, the 2 guys who was telling me were crying, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in shock, But that's just. I mean, it's a horrible thing, but.
I mean, businesses. I mean, if you're in a businessman and you're a business, you got to make some tough decisions, and you're going to make tough decisions that people aren't going to like.
We'll see. Right now, AEW's losing.
And you just got to hope you make the right ones.
AEW's losing money. It came out today they lost about $8 million, but they said a lot of that's because he put a bunch of money into video games. I don't know if that was smart to do that already, but I mean, it's his company.
Yeah, because they got an app video game that you can get on your phone now, and there was talk about them making like one that like WWE does, like for the PlayStation, Xbox, and all that. Yeah. They're talking about one coming out for that soon.
See, WWE has they have 2 or 3 of them phone games.
Yeah,
they've got several of them.
Yeah, they got a lot of those phone games. That's the thing. He's been
I don't
so
know how
ahead
popular the video game. I know like your games on your phone are real popular. I don't know how popular like the WWE game on your PlayStation, Xbox still are.
I know it is for younger kids.
I was going to say I would say it's probably still popular. And I know back in our day.
Oh, it was huge.
We sat and played them for hours.
Yeah,
I mean, all day. And even the they even had a WCW game that was good.
I don't think I'm sure it's not as popular as it was because of games like Call of Duty and that
Fortnite
kind of stuff,
and
Fortnite and that stuff. But I'm sure it still does very well.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I was trying to figure out was it worth AEW trying to get in that game space that soon?
The reason I think it might be a mistake is because there's a lot of people out there that don't know what AEW is. Diehards do. Everybody knows what WWE is.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
And even though it's great, like Kenny Omega, I didn't know much about Kenny Omega until he came to AEW. He was big in Japan. Diehards know him. There's people still out there who don't know who Kenny Omega is.
Right.
But I bet you can go up to how many people know who Randy Orton is. Roman Reigns is.
Nothing against Kenny Omega because he is good. But however people were saying that he was the best in the world, I don't see it. He's good. But
I think he's good.
He's good. But I don't think he's better than I don't think he's better than Daniel Bryan.
I would say that with the work that I've seen him wrestle in America, I agree with you. I haven't seen his Japan work, so I can't.
I think his Japan stuff has been better than anything he's done so far here.
That's what most people say.
America.
That's what most people say.
I
haven't seen his Japan work, so I can't.
I haven't
judge
seen a lot of the Japan work.
I've just watched a lot of it from
the stuff I've
watching
seen
it in YouTube and different.
The stuff I've seen, he's no better than Daniel Bryan. I don't
think he's up there with Daniel Bryan, in my opinion. I think.
I'll tell you what. I don't think Randy Orton gets the credit he deserves for how good he is.
Jim Ross said Randy Orton's the best wrestler in the world. And AEW people wanted to kill him.
Yeah, I remember.
There's been other wrestlers, a lot of them here recently, that have been coming out and saying Randy Orton is the best. Like, they said that he's one of the safest.
Yeah,
I've heard that several times, that he tries to put the safety of everything above, even sometimes if it has to make your match not as good, but you're safer that way. Then
before we get out here for the first episode, let's do this. Who do you think is the top 5 best wrestlers right now?
Right now? Oh, man.
And AEW or W,
you talking about in-ring wrestling, or you talking about the character? You're talking
total
about
package?
You talking about selling tickets? You talking about
in-ring?
Just in-ring, okay.
Because
that's going to change things.
Yeah.
Because, for example, Roman Reigns right now on
being over and everything.
He got more followers this year. He gained almost 2 million followers, and people wouldn't even. They're not even close.
And real quick, I want to say something about Roman Reigns. By them putting him with Paul Heyman, that helped him get over more. But another thing that helped him, he got a hell of a lot more comfortable being on the mic.
Yeah.
Once he turned heel and was with Heyman, now he's not bad on the mic.
Oh no!
Now that he can go out there and just talk shit and say, And I think that's why one reason he's got more popular. People got to see a
different side of it.
Yeah, a different side of it.
Brock Lesnar right now.
Yep.
People are
I love Lesnar now. Come out there in fucking overalls.
And he's talking, smiling, laughing. You see all over Facebook, he's taking pictures with all the fans and stuff. Just completely different character.
He looks like a lumberjack when he comes out there. I love it.
He does. Top 5. Right now, Daniel Bryan's number 1 to me. Randy Orton's awful good, man. Seth Rollins is really good. Trying to think of some.
He might not be now, but because he's getting older. But Chris Jericho would have to be up there as one of the better guys. But in ring, going by just in ring now, you really can't put him up there because he's older. But if you go by everything, he's one of the best.
Yeah,
And the way he's been able to reinvent himself so many times. He's one of.
I think Cody Rhodes is underrated.
Yeah, I think he's underrated. I think he's really good.
I'd put Kenny. I think I'd put. Well, that's what I was getting at. Would you put Kenny Omega in your top 5?
I would.
In ring.
Mm-hmm. Right now, yeah. It's slowly going down. Like whenever I first heard of Kenny Omega, like years ago, and first started watching
I couldn't put him
he's
over.
Going lower.
I couldn't put him over Daniel Bryan or Randy Orton. I'd say him and Seth Rollins are pretty close.
Yeah.
I feel
that they're about on the same. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anybody. I'm sure. I'll tell you somebody that's really good in the ring. Cesaro, man.
Oh, yeah.
If they let Cesaro go in the ring and wrestle matches, now again, he's terrible on the mic. But in the ring, he's as good as anybody there is in the ring.
So somebody else that's real good in the ring and ain't a big star like that is Pete Dunne.
I really like Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But he wrestles that style that I like. AJ Styles. AJ Styles would have to be in.
Can still go.
He'd have to be in the top 5. He'd be in my top 5.
His thing's changing because
I would put. This is just me personally, but I'd put AJ ahead of Omega.
AJ gets it because what his job is now at his age is to put people over. Mm-hmm. People got on you. You're getting buried. Guy loses one match on the internet and they're getting buried.
He knows he's had his time. Yeah. He knows he's getting towards the end of his career. He's getting older. He's losing a step or two here and there. And that's his job.
Well, he's not Hulk Hogan,
right.
who never wanted to put anybody over.
Exactly. Your skills are declining, but yet you still want to be the best guy ever. Like,
yeah.
no.
Had it in your claws. You know, everybody gives Jeff Jarrett hell because they wanted him to lose, Hogan to lose, and he refused to. So Jeff Jarrett went to the ring, laid down for him, and then put his foot on him and get pinned.
I'd probably have Omega around 5 or 6.
I'd put him at 5 probably.
But man, because I'm a big Moxley fan.
Me too. I like Moxley.
But Moxley's more of a brawler.
It's a different style.
Different style.
Death matches, hardcore matches. Yeah, he's one of the probably.
And I'm not gonna lie.
Best.
One of the reasons I became a big Moxley fan wasn't because he was in WWE as Dean Ambrose. When we saw him in Indianapolis at that independent show, and I think he might have wrestled Rock. We thought that might have been Billy Rock.
I think so. I think it was.
They went outside. I mean, it was one of the best matches I'd seen live. Yep. It was just, and Brian Danielson was on that card.
Yeah, Brian Danielson against Drake Younger was outstanding.
We paid what, $10 to get in that building, and it was one of the better shows I've been to.
We didn't know what we was. I mean, I'd heard of it, and I said, let's go down and check it out, Chris. And Austin went with us, and they had a pre-show. And heck, there was 4 or 5 matches on the pre-show, and they were outstanding. We were there from like 6 o'clock till like 11 o'clock. Yeah. But it was a great show.
And when he says 6 to 11, it wasn't like they took like a 45-minute intermission or something. They took like a quick
15 minutes,
15-minute intermission, and boom. Yep. And when Moxley was wrestling that match, dude, I swear, everybody in that building followed them outside. We was all outside. They were out in the road, dude. Cars going down the road, and then everybody just followed. They threw that dude on those chairs.
Well, I tell you who somebody else that still can go, and he's older, but he still can go, and he proved that when he wrestled Seth Rollins. He proved that he wrestled Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, and that's Edge.
And when he wrestled Randy Orton a couple years ago at WrestleMania,
he still can perform at a very high level.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this real quick. We gotta go here in a minute. But what if Edge wouldn't have had to sit out those years for that injury? Do you think that he would be up there more as being considered one of the best if he wouldn't have lost those? What did he lose, 7-8 years?
9 years, I think.
If you could have had those 9 years where he was healthy, I think he would be up there.
Oh yeah.
Because I think he's considered. I mean, I think he's up there now. But a lot of people, he's their favorite guy. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that's also one of the reasons that Punk is kind of lost? Like, to me, he don't look as sharp now than he's older now. Yeah. He took the 7 years off. Like, imagine if he was going straight still for 7 years straight. That's any sport, any athlete. You take any time off away from your thing, and you're going to.
Well, that's what Billy Ray said. He said he could tell in his match with Darby Allin, one of the first matches he had, that Darby Allin had to slow down for him. Mm-hmm. You know, he had to. I mean, there's rust. He said there's no way around it. There's rust, and it's going to take time. And he may never be what he was again.
Right. Well, it's like anything. You can be in shape. You can do all that stuff, but it's a totally different conditioning when you're in there doing it. Just like in amateur wrestling, you can go run as much as you want. You get out there on that mat. It's different. The only way to get in that shape is to do it.
Right. I can go run for 2.5 hours straight. Well, 6 minutes on a mat, I'm gonna be wore the fuck out.
Said, Stone Cold called Daniel Bryan and told him, said, "Look, Daniel, you got all these head injuries and stuff. You need to change your style." He said, "I had to do it." You know, he called him, and then Daniel Bryan said it meant the world to him. You know, he really didn't know Stone Cold all that well, and then Stone Cold took and said, "You need to change your style." And he lied to Daniel Bryan said WWE protected me from myself. He said I was lying to him. I was fine and I wasn't fine, and because I didn't want to quit wrestling.
Well, that's another guy. If he wouldn't have got hurt, if he wouldn't have hurt his neck, and he was wrestling Owen Hart when he hurt his neck, wasn't it?
Yes.
One time. That's another guy. If he wouldn't have got hurt and he could have wrestled,
people need.
If he could have been in the ring like he was back in WCW,
go back and watch the stuff in World Class and Texas.
Stunning Steve Austin and all that stuff.
If WCW, he was one hell of a
If he wouldn't have got hurt, he would have been up there probably as one of the best ever, which he is now. But, I mean, in ring wise, he could have been too.
And that's what people's going to understand. People get Vince McMahon a hard time because they say, well, he give up on this wrestler and this wrestler didn't have talent. It happens all the time. Eric Bischoff said Stone Cold would never Steve Austin would never sell tickets.
The Undertaker was told nobody would ever pay to watch him wrestle by WCW.
Yeah. So, I mean,
for as many
hits and
people
misses.
as he's dismissed, he's resurrected and saved so many more careers,
look at,
you know?
Look at all the guys that came from WCW and became big stars in WWE. Jericho was good in WCW, but he became big in WWE. Yeah. Eddie Guerrero, Chavo, Dean Malenko. And Dean Malenko, if he would have been good on the mic, he might have been the best ever. In the ring, man.
In the ring, he's one of the best ever. He really is.
He just didn't have the personality. If he would have had the personality like The Rock, with the ability he had in the ring, man.
Yeah, they was never, Eddie Guerrero or them guys were never going to get the opportunity there.
No, because you had, it was all about the NWO.
Hogan, Nash, and Hall.
And don't get me wrong, I was an NWO fan, but they just drew it out too long without going on with it.
Yeah.
You just started. Eventually, you had what 25 fucking people in the NWO.
Shit, even more. Then you had the NWO Black, NWO Red.
You had so many people in it that they were arguing who should be in the Hall of Fame.
This is one thing again where I think they've, especially Daniel Bryan, they had them wrestle guys, and I'm not putting the guys down as wrestlers because they performed well in the matches. They had that one guy named Yuta. I guess he's from Japan.
Yep.
I don't know one damn thing about him. And you get a casual fan come over. Well, I'm gonna watch Daniel Bryan. Well, who the hell is this dude? This a jobber? Or I've never heard of it. At least do a better job of doing a backstory and let people
build that match up.
Know who these know who these guys are to make it more interesting. It's more just about being in the ring. You got to do the total, and WWE does a better job at that than AEW does. No doubt about it.
So. Then also still like we got to also still remember that AEW is a baby compared to WWE.
Like
so give them, if they're still around in 10, 15, 20 years,
deal.
If
because
their
I
stuff
want to
has
buy like a Big
changed,
Mac. And I need some of your courses.
As long as they do something to keep growing and they're not just staying the same for the next 10, 20 years.
I worry about the growth because I don't know if Tony Khan will change because he's got the people. He's got Arn Anderson there. He's got people that know the things that they need to do.
Right.
That have seen it, and I don't see him moving
if he would
forward.
If he would listen to Arn Anderson, Jim Ross, guys like that they could explode.
They were there.
J.R.
Seen WCW's downfall.
And everybody knows.
And they seen WWE's.
Rise.
Well, and everybody knows J.R. as being the ring announcer, but he's a hell of a talent scout.
Oh yeah.
And he was he's brought numerous guys into WWE that
didn't he wrestle though for a while?
Jim Ross, no, he was a referee. He did every single thing that you could do in the business, but I don't think he
matches.
I think he did a match in WWE. Even
not like
a gimmick match with Adam Cole or Michael Cole. I mean,
yeah, he did that.
I meant like back in NWA,
I don't
World
believe so.
Championship Wrestling.
No, because he started in Mid South. Because I used to watch Mid South, and he was the announcer there. And Jim Ross is to me the best announcer, which Michael Cole's got pretty good. I like Michael Cole, and
Michael Cole's probably one of the guys that's longest tenured at being an announcer.
Yeah, now,
because he's been around for a long time.
But don't get me wrong, I think Jim Ross is the best, but my favorite was Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, I love Bobby Heenan.
Them two together was. But
J.R. and Lawler together was pretty damn good too.
But Bobby Heenan, when Vince McMahon had this idea for the wrestling,
never have Lawler on now.
I was gonna say no.
They did have him on, and he said something about the Japanese character that they have.
Yeah, I forget what he said. It wasn't even that bad.
But it made a little joke, a typical joke that you can't say now because people.
All you heard him talk about today.
Puppies.
He goes, oh Trish, he killed me, dude. He'd get so, and they'd show his face, his expressions. He'd get so excited when the women came out. It was just added to it though, because he's funny.
Yeah, I think if Tony Khan would listen, because I heard he's took over all the booking and everything. He's not taking input from Omega or any of them guys anymore. And I think he's got to get over his ego and get some right help in there, and I think they can grow, get really big. All
right, we're going to get out of here for today, but don't forget we will be back next Sunday at 9 a.m. with another episode. Next week we'll get maybe talk about some more of the tag teams. I got a few things I'd like to talk about. Tag team.
One of my favorite all-time tag teams right here, the Head Shrinkers.
That's great.
Hey, we got to see them not wrestle, but we got to see them live here in Muncie.
TCCW.
Plug that show.
Summit Pro. Sunday, 4 o'clock. Doors open at 3. It's in Greenfield, Indiana.
And DCCW don't have a lot of information, but they got a show
January 15th.
January 15th.
I believe it's called New Year's Bash.
And
or New Year's Massacre or something.
Also,
I thought it was Bash. Yeah. I thought.
Well, by the time this airs, that'll be over. But so never mind. I was going to plug the other company here in Muncie, but by the time this episode airs,
we'll plan. We'll give a review for it for next week.
Yeah.
We're planning on going tonight, tomorrow night, IPW if they're at the fairgrounds, and we'll go to the show and give everybody a review of it.
And we can also do a review of the Summit Pro. Summit Pro. We're going to be streaming that live on our YouTube and Twitch channels at Gonzo Sports Room. This will air actually the morning of. So come join us that afternoon.
And big shout out IPW to Luke Savage and
Dalton Love.
I always get confused on that. I start to try to call him Dr. Love, and he's not Dr. Love. So
Dr. Love Jr.
Yeah, he didn't want no pearls either. But he's both of them guys are doing real good things. Matter of fact, they're wrestling tonight. WCWO. They got a big show there every Friday night. WCWO. So people,
they also go live.
Yeah, they can check us
support
on Facebook. So support the independent wrestling. You ain't gonna go wrong with any of these shows, I'm sure. So you'll get entertained.
Check us out on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Gonzo Sports Room. That's where we post everything about all of our shows, including this one. Also, we're going to be including this Sunday. We're at Summit Pro. The next Saturday we'll be live for DCCW here in Muncie, Indiana. Then January 29th, we're going to be in Bloomington, Indiana for MPG, and that's a stacked card
be crazy.
as well.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe they got that many people on that card. Man.
So come join us for that. But we'll see you guys next Sunday. Thanks for joining us. Peace.